Dean Martin was never simply a voice on the radio or a face behind a cocktail glass. To the public, he seemed to float through life with an ease that was enviable, charming, humorous, and effortlessly talented. His music could soften the hardest heartbreak, and his smile suggested a man untouched by worry. Yet what audiences often missed was the discipline and intention behind that charm. Dean had learned early to wrap vulnerability in humor, to turn personal challenges into a polished exterior that could delight millions. The cool confidence he projected wasn't an accident. It was the result of years of careful observation, experience, and adaptation. Behind every relaxed performance, there was a man practicing patience, balancing effort with grace, and creating a presence that felt natural, though it was anything but accidental. Dean's charm was real, but it was refined through life's subtle lessons. Childhood shaped by difference, Dean Martin was born Dino Paul Crocetti in 1917 in Steubenville, Ohio, to Italian immigrant parents who carried hope, pride, and a sense of heritage across the ocean. At home, Dino was surrounded by the comfort of family and language, but outside, the world was less forgiving. His accent and background marked him as different in school, making him an easy target for teasing. These early experiences left a mark, teaching him sensitivity and an awareness of how others perceived him. Yet Dino found refuge in music, a space where language and accents mattered less, and expression flowed freely. Singing and performing became a bridge between him and the wider world, offering a sense of control, identity, and comfort. These formative years created the foundation for the man who would later charm audiences globally, a man who understood early that connecting with people required observation, patience, and heart. Learning the ways of the world, by 16, Dino stepped away from formal education and embraced the demands of adult life. He worked in steel mills, boxed for money, and took on whatever jobs were necessary to support himself. The work was tough, often exhausting, and required resilience. Yet these experiences shaped him profoundly, teaching endurance and focus. Dino learned to meet challenges head-on, to absorb pressure without complaint, and to keep moving forward even when the path was uncertain. Beyond the physical strength gained from labor, these years also developed an inner confidence that could carry him through rejection, setbacks, and uncertainty. Music remained an anchor, a reminder of joy and creativity amid hardship. This balance of discipline, observation, and personal passion would later become the hallmark of Dean Martin's style, a man whose effortless charm was grounded in years of quiet, determined preparation. Finding the power of charm. While working as a blackjack dealer in nightclubs, Dino discovered a crucial skill: understanding people. He observed how laughter, timing, and attentiveness could influence moods and ease tension. Charm wasn't about loudness or dominance. It was subtle, empathetic, and deliberate. Slowly, music re-entered his life, and Dino began performing in small clubs under the name Dino Martini. These early performances were not always well received, with indifferent audiences and quiet rooms testing his resolve. Every disappointing show, every moment of silence, taught him resilience and humility. Dino learned to refine his craft, adjust his approach, and persist even when the recognition he longed for seemed distant. Through these experiences, he understood that talent alone wasn't enough. It was the combination of skill, patience, and the ability to read an audience that created magic. Dean Martin was being built quietly, carefully, in these small formative stages, reinventing himself as Dean Martin. Changing his name to Dean Martin marked a turning point, symbolizing reinvention and renewed ambition. It was more than a stage name, it was a signal of transformation. Dean refined his musical style, honed his presence, and stepped back into the world with quiet determination. Success didn't come immediately. There were many nights performing to rooms that barely noticed, testing his resolve and patience. Yet each setback strengthened him, teaching humility and persistence. Through trial and error, Dean learned the art of timing, delivery, and presence, skills that would later define him as a performer. This period of reinvention revealed the essence of his personality: disciplined, observant, and quietly confident. Dean Martin's journey showed that the image of ease and charm could coexist with hard work and preparation, proving that even the most natural stars are often the most deliberate in their craft. The unexpected partnership. In 1945, a moment of serendipity reshaped Dean Martin's life forever. During a performance in a modest New York nightclub, a young, unpredictable comedian named Jerry Lewis unexpectedly disrupted his act, turning the stage into a chaotic, unpredictable scene. Most performers might have bristled, but Dean noticed something others missed: a spark, a raw potential in Lewis's energy. That instinctive recognition was the beginning of a collaboration that would captivate audiences nationwide. Together, their chemistry was electric, blending comedic timing with smooth musical performance in a way that felt both spontaneous and mesmerizing. As the duo gained rapid popularity, Dean discovered the thrill of shared creativity and public recognition, yet he never allowed the success to overwhelm his own sense of self. The experience highlighted lessons in balance, patience, and observation, showing him that collaboration could amplify talent while also teaching humility, timing, and the power of reading an audience. Success comes with lessons. Even as audiences adored the Martin and Lewis duo, Dean frequently felt overshadowed by his partner's high-energy antics. Critics often framed him as the straight man, focusing attention on Lewis's chaotic brilliance while glossing over Dean's subtle charm and steady artistry. While this could have been discouraging, Dean instead treated it as an opportunity to grow. He observed, refined, and honed his craft quietly, learning the art of endurance and the value of quiet confidence. Recognition, he realized, often arrives later than expected, and patience is as essential as talent. In 1956, Dean made the bold decision to step away from the partnership, risking his career but gaining the chance to define himself on his own terms. This choice reflected not recklessness, but deep self-awareness. His solo work in music and film demonstrated the power of resilience, showing that long-term success relies as much on thoughtful strategy and persistence as it does on immediate applause. Standing tall alone, stepping away from Martin and Lewis meant proving himself as a solo performer, a challenge Dean met with measured determination. In films such as The Young Lions, he revealed dramatic depth, showcasing a versatility previously unnoticed in the duo's comedic shadow. Simultaneously, his musical career ascended to new heights, with timeless hits like Everybody Loves Somebody topping charts even against formidable competitors like the Beatles. These achievements were more than professional victories. They were affirmations of Dean's personal persistence, his capacity to endure and flourish without relying on another for validation. He had carefully built a repertoire of skills, impeccable timing, effortless charisma, and the ability to make audiences feel both entertained and understood. This period underscored a truth often hidden behind fame. Authentic accomplishment is cultivated through unseen effort, careful observation, and an unwavering commitment to one's craft. Dean Martin was now a complete artist, standing firmly on his own. The King of Las Vegas. Dean Martin's place in the Rat Pack, alongside Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr., transformed not only his life, but the culture of Las Vegas entertainment. On stage, he appeared entirely relaxed, joking, singing, and performing with a natural ease that seemed almost unstudied. But behind the performance, every gesture, every note, and every pause was deliberate, the product of careful preparation and intuition. Television brought him into homes nationwide through The Dean Martin Show and celebrity roasts, solidifying his status as a cultural icon. Dean's charm lay in its subtlety. He could connect deeply with audiences while maintaining personal boundaries, giving joy without sacrificing privacy. His performances illustrated that confidence combined with restraint leaves a profound impact, showing the world how one can entertain, delight, and inspire while staying true to oneself. Dean's approach transformed not just audiences' expectations, but also the art of performance itself, creating a standard for grace under pressure. Family and the pursuit of home despite public adoration, Dean Martin always cherished the tranquility of home and the closeness of family. His marriages reflected his deep desire for connection and stability, a counterbalance to the whirlwind of professional life. He loved his children with unmatched devotion, striving to maintain presence even when travel and shows demanded his time. Family life offered him perspective, grounding him and reminding him that life extends beyond applause and stage lights. The contrast between public visibility and private intimacy defined Dean's personal narrative, revealing a man who was deeply human beneath his glamorous exterior. These private relationships, nurtured quietly and intentionally, were sources of joy and restoration. Dean demonstrated that even amidst fame and spectacle, true fulfillment often arises from simple, meaningful connections that are built over time, quietly enriching life beyond what the audience ever sees. Moments of loss and reflection. Moments of loss and reflection. Even the most luminous careers are marked by personal reflection and profound challenges. The sudden loss of Dean's son in 1987 left an indelible mark, reshaping his priorities and deepening his emotional awareness. Dean chose to slow down, embracing the quiet moments that truly mattered, rather than fleeing into work or performance. This period highlighted the balance between presence and responsibility, showing that even celebrated lives contain private struggles that are invisible to the public eye. Dean's response was not withdrawal, but careful preservation of the relationships and joys he held dear. The experience reinforced the importance of authenticity, patience, and inner focus. It became a poignant reminder that enduring success and happiness are rooted not solely in public acclaim, but in the depth and quality of one's personal connections and the ability to face life's challenges with grace. Choosing quietude over spotlight. As he entered his later years, Dean Martin embraced simplicity, deliberately centering life on comfort, routine, and personal fulfillment. Golf outings, familiar films, and daily rhythms became sources of satisfaction that public applause could never replicate. His approach was not a retreat, but a conscious choice to enjoy life on his own terms. Dean demonstrated that true contentment arises from balance, the ability to bring joy to others while also nurturing one's own heart and mind. The restraint and awareness he had cultivated over decades allowed him to savor ordinary moments, from the quiet warmth of family presence to the peacefulness of familiar routines. This quietude became both a reward for decades of effort and a reflection of the depth of his inner life, showing that even a man admired by millions could find fulfillment in simplicity. Facing the end with grace. In his final years, Dean approached life with dignity, prioritizing comfort, family, and meaningful connection. Time became measured not in applause, but in shared moments, laughter, and memory. Even as health challenges emerged, Dean's focus remained on presence, reflection, and quiet joy. He spent these years with the same deliberate care he had applied to performance, honoring relationships, and creating lasting, tender memories. His approach to the end of life reflected wisdom earned through decades of observation, experience, and resilience. Dean balanced public identity with private truth, choosing grace over spectacle, reflection over performance. His final months were filled with calm, connection, and love, exemplifying a philosophy that had guided him throughout his life: that the most meaningful moments are those spent intentionally with the people and experiences that matter most. A legacy that still resonates. Dean Martin passed away on Christmas Day in 1995, at the age of 78, leaving a lasting impression not only in music and film, but in the warmth, authenticity, and joy he brought to every performance. His influence endures, present in recordings, films, and the timeless charm of his performances. Dean reminds us that behind every smile is a story, and behind every celebrated figure is a person who has worked, endured, and loved. His life illustrates that charm, humor, and resilience can coexist, producing a legacy that inspires generations. Even decades later, audiences continue to smile at his songs, feel the humor in his performances, and recognize the careful intention behind his effortless style. In every note, gesture, and laugh, Dean Martin continues to teach that grace, warmth, and human connection endure far beyond fame.